The Barista and the CEO, a story of unexpected connections. The first snowflakes of winter began to dance outside the large windows of Maple Street Cafe, creating a gentle curtain between the warm interior and the bustling city beyond. Sarah Chen wiped down the espresso machine with practiced movements, her ponytail swaying softly as she worked. The afternoon rush had finally settled into the peaceful quiet she cherished most about her job. Steam rose from freshly brewed coffee, mixing with the golden light that filtered through the frosted glass. The cafe smelled of cinnamon and roasted beans, a combination that never failed to make Sarah smile. She had worked here for 3 years now, saving every penny for her dream of opening a small language school. Her apartment walls were covered with certificates in 6 different languages, each one representing countless hours of study between shifts. The bell above the door chimed softly, and Sarah looked up to see a man in a tailored dark suit stepping inside. Snow dusted his shoulders and dark hair, and there was something about his posture that suggested both confidence and exhaustion. He paused just inside the doorway, his eyes scanning the cozy space with the careful attention of someone accustomed to evaluating everything around him. "Welcome to Maple Street Cafe," Sarah said warmly, her voice carrying just a hint of her grandmother's Chinese accent. "What can I get for you today?" The man approached the counter slowly, and Sarah noticed the tension in his shoulders, the slight furrow in his brow. His laptop bag looked expensive, and his watch caught the light as he reached for his wallet. But there was something vulnerable in his expression that made her think of her father after long days at the factory. "I need coffee," he said simply, then paused. "Actually, I need help, but I don't think you can give me what I really need." Sarah tilted her head, studying his face. "Well, let's start with the coffee, and then we'll see about the rest. What would you like?" "Just black coffee." Strami sat down heavily at the table near the window, opening his laptop with movements that suggested this was routine. But today felt different somehow. Sarah prepared his coffee with extra care, selecting her finest beans and taking time to ensure the perfect temperature. When she brought it to his table, she noticed his screen was filled with what looked like contracts and documents in several different languages. His phone buzzed constantly, but he ignored it. "Are you all right?" she asked softly, setting the cup down. "You look like someone carrying the weight of the world." The man looked up, surprised by her genuine concern. "It's just work, international business. Sometimes I feel like I'm drowning in languages I don't understand well enough. Cultures I'm supposed to navigate but never quite grasp." He gestured at his screen. "I have a presentation tomorrow for investors from 6 different countries, and I'm worried I'm going to offend someone or miss something crucial in translation." Sarah glanced at his screen and saw documents in Spanish, French, German, Mandarin, Japanese, and Arabic. Her heart quickened with recognition and excitement. "What languages are you working with?" she asked, unable to hide her curiosity. He looked embarrassed. "Spanish, French, German, Mandarin, Japanese, and Arabic. I have translators, but they're not always available when I need them, and sometimes the cultural nuances get lost. I have this deal that could change everything for my company, but I'm terrified of making a mistake that costs us everything." Sarah felt a flutter of nervous excitement. "May I?" She gestured toward his laptop. The man hesitated, then nodded. "I'm Marcus Thompson, by the way, and you're probably thinking I'm crazy for sharing business details with a barista." "I'm Sarah Chen," she replied, already reading over his documents. "And you'd be surprised what baristas know." She paused at a section in Mandarin, her finger tracing the characters. "This section here, the translation is technically correct, but it's very formal. In Chinese business culture, this phrasing might come across as cold or dismissive to your investors." Marcus leaned forward, his exhaustion replaced by sharp attention. "What would you suggest?" Sarah's fingers moved over his keyboard as she made adjustments to the Chinese text, then moved to the Arabic document. "In Arabic business culture, you want to acknowledge relationships and mutual respect more explicitly. This phrase here, ... double quotes, she made another change, ... now shows proper honor to their experience and wisdom." For the next hour, Sarah moved between languages with fluid grace. She explained cultural nuances in Japanese business etiquette, softened the tone of the German contracts to seem less aggressive, and adjusted the Spanish presentation to better reflect the collaborative spirit that Latin American investors valued. Marcus watched in amazement as his documents transformed from technically correct but culturally tone-deaf to elegant, respectful communications that honored each culture's values. "How do you know all this?" Marcus asked, his voice filled with wonder. Sarah blushed slightly. "I've been studying languages since I was 12. My grandmother always said that language is the bridge between hearts, not just minds. I've worked with international students at the community college, helped translate for the local immigrant community. You learn that it's not just about words, it's about understanding how people think and feel." The cafe had grown quiet around them, other customers coming and going as the afternoon stretched into early evening. Sarah had long since closed her register and turned off the espresso machine, but neither of them seemed to notice. "Sarah," Marcus said finally, his voice serious, "I need to tell you something. My company, Thompson Global Enterprises, we're one of the largest international consulting firms in the world. I've been looking for someone exactly like you for 2 years. Sarah looked up from his laptop, confusion flickering across her face. What do you mean? I mean, I'd like to offer you a job. Head of Cultural Communications. You'd work with our international teams, help bridge the gaps that translators can't always cross. The salary would be enough to open 10 language schools. If that's what you want. The words hung in the air between them like the snowflakes outside the window, beautiful, surprising, and almost too delicate to touch. Sarah felt her world shift, the same way it had when she first heard her grandmother speak in Mandarin, when she realized that words could open doors to entirely different ways of seeing the world. I don't understand, she said softly. You're offering me a job because I helped you with some documents. Marcus smiled, and for the first time since he'd entered the cafe, the tension left his shoulders completely. Sarah, what you did in an hour would have taken my team of translators weeks to achieve, and they never would have caught the cultural nuances you did. You have a gift not just for languages, but for understanding people. That's rarer than you know. Outside, the snow continued to fall, but inside Maple Street Cafe, 2 lives had just changed forever. Sarah looked at the job offer Marcus had written on a napkin, then at the warm, familiar space that had been her world for 3 years. Sometimes, she thought, the most extraordinary opportunities come disguised as ordinary moments, waiting for us to be brave enough to reach for them. When do I start? She asked, and her smile was like sunshine breaking through winter clouds.